It's the Terrible at Fishing radio show on Gold Country Radio. Here's your fishing expert and host, Michael Ruffino.
Welcome back to Terrible at Fishing, everybody. Boy, I've been very, very busy this week. Oh, it's exciting, though. So let's give you a little fishing report, what's been going on. So, ice fishing has officially started. Yes, I was at Lake of the Woods this week, and we'll talk a little bit about that, but we're going to talk a lot of bit about that. But Lake of the Woods, I was catching a trout. I was to the far right of the right of the marina in the far right buoy. It's about 16 feet deep. I knew that ahead of time. Fished it a lot of times. Usually it's a great smallie area in the summer, but I went there because I was tired. I didn't want to walk all the way out to Aspen, but went there, caught 3 beautiful trout, rainbow trout. If you go to Aspen, you can catch a lot of perch, but you can also catch a lot of trout too. Ice is really, really good at the Aspen area. Now, where I was, that far right buoy, it was 6 inches of clear ice. I went out there to other people's holes, and we're going to talk about that. It's anywhere from, 3-inch of ice to 8 inches of ice, depending on where you are on the lake. And we'll get to that. Fish Lake is doing very, very well. Remember, if you catch tiger trout, which is a fun catch, try not to hurt it because it is illegal for you to kill them or for you to keep them. You have to put tiger trout back in the lake. Please, tiger trout, illegal to keep. But they're catching good-sized tigers, really big, and some rainbow trouts at Fish Lake. Diamond Lake, safe ice, doing really, really well at a Diamond Lake. So there are some really good lakes. I haven't checked Gerber yet, so if anybody knows what's going on in Gerber, please just send me an email at terribleatfishing2019@gmail.com. And please, if you got a report, I thought I had somebody going there, but they haven't posted yet. But anyway, ice fishing is official. Now, let's talk about my experience at Lake of the Woods this week. Now, you can't park at the Aspen lot, although I asked them to open it. Let's see if we can get them to open it because they are plowed it. It would be nice if it was open. But there's no snow on the ground. It is ice, ice, ice. If you can imagine the biggest ice skating rink you've ever been on, that's what Lake of the Woods is like right now. It is slick, so wear cleats or else you're going to be shuffling all the way out there. Pulling your sled over the rocks, pretty hard. Please be very, very careful about the edge. Shorelines are very fragile when it comes to ice. So you can fall through, and I did, down about a foot. You got to pick your spot carefully. Once you get out on the lake is actually pretty good. But let me tell you about this. All right, this is my preaching. Because I have been harping on my radio show and my YouTube channel about ice safety. Now, I get out there and I go out on a specific route. I'm pounding the ice with my spud bar, which is basically just a metal bar. And then you're just pounding it, making sure that every step you're taking is safe. All right? So I get out there and I put my tent up, my shelter, and I'm fishing. I'm having a good old time. I'm safe. I got out there safe. I'm good. But what I'm watching is that I'm the only one with a spud bar. Nobody else is testing the ice. Nobody. There's a lot of people on Tuesday out on Lake of the Woods. A lot. And kids, families, everybody is just having a good time out on the lake. But nobody has any clue about the thickness of ice under them. None. No clue whatsoever. They're just walking out there. And they assume, they see my tent, and they're starting from point A, and they think they can get to my tent to point B safely. Ice does not freeze uniformly. There's undulations underneath the ice. And they don't know the path I took, do they? I don't usually take a straight line. I'm looking at cracks, stress fractures, things like that, and I'm pounding the ice. And I'm zigzagging it a bit to get out to where I'm going, just to be safe. And I'm a fat guy, so, I want to be safe. These people have no clue. They're just walking out there. They're slipping and falling. And I watched one kid jumping up and down on the ice trying to break it. Please. I don't know what to say, guys. 2 years ago, I almost died of hypothermia in the water. I should have died. 40 minutes in freezing water, I should have died. You have no clue what happens when you fall into cold water if you've never done it. I have bad lungs, but not everybody has bad lungs. Most people don't. But you can't breathe. And if indeed you walk out there and one leg goes through the ice, you could break your leg. These people had most people had no spikes around their neck, hand spikes. So if you do fall in, you have a way to grab the ice and pull yourself out of the hole that you made. I don't know what to say, except please be careful. I've harped on it and harped on it and harped on it, but people aren't listening. At least they're not here. They're not actually hearing my radio show, and they're not watching my YouTube channel. Ice safety is super, super important. Wear a PFD, flotation suit, change of clothes, in a dry bag if it's with you, but out, at your car. Where there's spikes. Have a whistle on you. So if indeed you do fall through, you can whistle and other people on the lake can come to your aid. Please listen to me and share this information to anybody going out on the lake. And the ice is clear and hard as a rock, okay? But you will find weak spots, especially along the shoreline. You're going to fall. And ice, when it breaks, can be in shards and it can be sharp. So you can actually fall through the ice and slice your leg or arm or whatever, even at the shore. I don't know what to say, except, and I don't want to scare you off of the ice. I want you to have a healthy fear of the danger that is out there so you could take the precautions and be safe. I'm still around, but I will tell you that I have a healthy fear of it. And when I go out there, I'm taking all the precautions. So I know that when I get out there, it's safe. I punch holes in the ice. I measure the ice, and then I continue on. I punch more holes, and I continue on until I find a spot to where I'm comfortable at sitting on the ice. Now, I will tell you that the ice moans. It sings. I call it singing. The lake sings. And it sounds like, an upset stomach, or when you're hungry, your stomach goes. Yeah, that's the way the sound of a lake sounds. And all of a sudden it will rupture. Now, if you're watching my live on my YouTube channel, Terrible at Fishing, one rupture literally nudged me in my tent. Nudged me. It moved me. I could have been a quarter mile away, but you have no idea. And when water freezes, it expands, right? Well, if the lake is capped, okay, that means there's a lid on it. the water underneath is expanding. It's got to go someplace, right? And so this lake starts to sing. The ice starts to moan and groan. There's treble and there's bass. But boy, when that bass hits, it's like thunder under the ice. It's like a thunder clap, and it will scare you, and you will feel it. All right? You don't know where it is in the lake. You just don't. It could be a quarter mile away, half mile away, a mile away. But you will see out on the lake there are stress fractures on the lake that have healed, sort of like scratches on your skin, and it heals. And so when you get to them, when you're walking out there, you're going to pound it with your spud bar. You're going to pound it. A spud bar could be a piece of rebar, okay? I mean, just hit it really hard and make sure that it's healed thick enough for you to step over it, okay? There's a common ridge or a stress fracture. Actually, it's a rupture in the lake that is south of the green gazebo and to the right of the marina, and you'll see it looks like a little mountain ridge out on the lake. That rupture happens every year, probably because there's a ridge there underneath the water, and so there it just develops. And so you have to test it, all right? Now, was it 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago? I got out there before sunup, and I was walking out there, and I was coming up to that ridge, that fracture, that rupture. And it was dark. And I stepped on, right before it, and my leg fell through. Now, the good thing is it only fell through about 18 inches, and it hit another piece of ice. So I was able to pull my leg out without damage and without being hurt. But it did warn me, okay, about where I was. And it was dark. I mean, I was the only one out there. Who knows what could have happened? I wasn't spud barring it. I had way too much faith in the ice. Do not make those mistakes, all right? You can hurt yourself. And what I was seeing out there on Tuesday was just, it was carelessness. It was carelessness, or it's just ignorance. There were some people out there that should have known better. They had motorized augers and tents and sleds, and I mean they knew better. But they didn't. Those people were being careless. Now I can fess up to lots of other people out there just seeing fishermen out there, and they just walked out there thinking it was safe. Well, that's ignorance. Okay? We're all ignorant about something all the time. But to be careless, and now you guys, if you know what's right, you know what healthy fear is like. So please be careful going out onto the ice. It's getting thicker. We're going to have a real good season. We're going to have a kite festival at Lake of the Woods on the 14th and 15th, and we're arranging for the ice fishing festival, what we call Winterfest, the following weekend, which is the 22nd. So we're working hard on that. We're still solidifying the deal, the coordination we usually have with ODFW. So it's going to be a lot of fun this year. But I want you guys to be safe. I really do. Please, don't be careless. Just because you see somebody out there, you don't know how they got out there. Be safe. Please. Last thing I want to do is fish somebody out of the lake. And especially a little kid. And kids are they're just sliding on it. I mean, you can get a good run and jump and slide. You could be a hockey puck going across the lake. And you don't know. You just don't know where that thin spot is. I don't. I have no idea where those shallow spots are, though I have a good clue after this week. So anyway, you guys stay tuned, and please support the channel. Tell your friends about community radio, and we'll be right back with Terrible at Fishing.
Out in the backwoods under the stars, I tune in the radio from my old car. Gold country radio on Friday night. Terrible at fishing, but it feels just right.
Want to get your business noticed? Sponsor a show on KKFO Gold Country Radio on 103.3 FM and create awareness through on-air announcements, our online stream at goldcountryradio.org, and our podcasts that live on forever. Your message reaches a broad local audience while also targeting listeners who choose to tune in to the shows they love. Plus, we promote your sponsorship across our website and social media. For more information, email goldcountryradio@gmail.com. Call 541-238-6989 or visit goldcountryradio.org. Gold Country Radio, your message heard locally and beyond.
The Terrible at Fishing radio show. Michael's got the secrets and now you know. Can't lie, you cast just fine. Gold Country Radio.
All right, welcome back to Terrible at Fishing. It's funny. I was out and about, of course, and I say hi to everybody. So if you ever meet me, I'm the white-headed, goatee wearing big guy that waves at you and says hi. That's me. And people laugh at the fact that I tell them terrible at fishing. I was at the Fly Fishing Club's meeting. Meets second Tuesday at Waffle Hut every month. Second Tuesday. And one of the founding members were there, and he's sitting across from me, and I tell him that my radio show is called Terrible at Fishing. And he started laughing. He goes, "Oh, your points just went up with me." Being terrible at fishing is, and we're all terrible at fishing from time to time. And when I was out Tuesday, I wasn't catching anything for hours. And all of a sudden, a group of trout came swimming by. And I started catching trout. Now, I remember I told you that I got this thing called, an app called Fish Techie, FISHTECHY. It's an app. And if you go to Fly Techie, don't ask me why it's different, flytechie.com, you'll see what I'm talking about. This is, personally, when you talk about AI, artificial intelligence, I think about, stuff I don't care about. And now you can use AI in fishing. And you buy this thing, and I've told you this, you buy this thing called a proof ball. It's an orange 1.4-inch rubber ball that you put on your keychain. And you put this little ball next to the fish that you catch, and you take a picture of it. And then Fish Techie will go ahead and measure it lengthwise, estimate its girth, and its weight, all with a picture. Now, if you watched my YouTube channel on Tuesday when I was ice fishing, you will see me using this for the first time. And I wanted to use it. And last week I forgot to use it. I mean, it's just not a habit of mine. But I did it this week. And it was super cool. If you go to Facebook and go to Basin Fishing or Organized Fishing, you will see me posting these pictures of all the stats of the picture of the fish. I mean, it's right there. And this is a really cool thing. Somebody asked me, how accurate it is. Well, it actually posts, its accuracy. If you put the ball next to the fish, same distance from the camera, it will do a great job. It's like 95+% accurate. And if you just put the ball next to the fish, which is what I did. if the ball's at a different distance, it uses the ball as a, what do you call it, scale for the fish. And so you got to keep it the same distance as the fish. This is so cool, guys. Now, why is it so cool? Well, one thing, I don't usually measure girth, but girth is a necessary measurement for records, state records, lake records, things like that. So that's pretty cool. I don't usually do that. I would if I thought I had a 13-pound bass, and then I would definitely measure it. Because that's the state record. Also, by just taking a picture of the fish with the ball next to it, you can get the fish back in the water really, really quick without minimal shock. I mean, normally when you measure a fish, you lay it down onto the board, you're measuring it, it takes time to do that, and then you're going to hook its gill and then put it on your scale, and you're going to have it up on the scale, and if you were to measure its girth, then you would have to take a tape measure and wrap it around around its body. All that takes time, and it causes more shock to the fish. So, taking a picture, you can get the fish back in the water really, really quick, and still have all your information that you want. This thing called Fish Techie, or go to flytechie.com, and you can actually check it out. Or just ask me. It is, to be honest, one of the easiest ways to get a pretty accurate statistics on all your catches, and get the fish back in the water with minimal shock or damage. And I would definitely tell you guys to, or at least recommend you guys to check this thing out. Just check it out. You don't have to buy it. The app is free, by the way. The balls, you buy 2 balls. I think I got these on Amazon for $32 for the 2 balls. So I figured that paid for the app. And it just is going to be a great thing. And if you watch my Tuesday fishing trip, then you will see how it works. And you can watch it. I actually turned it towards the camera so you guys can see it actually do the calculation. So it's pretty cool. I really like that. So, check it out. I'm not sponsored by them. I get nothing from them. It's just a cool gadget. And I had no idea AI could be used for measuring fish. And what do you think about AI? You think about, I don't know, robots and taking over the world and planned obsolescence. I don't know. But it just doesn't look like something practical, AI, until now. And now it's practical. And it can save fish's lives. Save a life. Use AI. So, something else, I should tell you what I was using. So, I try a lot of different things, trying to figure out the recipe at Lake of the Woods, So this week, what I used was a very small white minnow. Very small white. Actually, it wasn't really a minnow. It kind of looks like a minnow, but it's not. It's a rubber plastic. It's called a horsefly by Mule Fishing, but I got the white one. And it's got 2 little legs on it, and it wiggles and stuff like that. I tried different power baits, but I will tell you, the power bait that you got to use at Lake of the Woods is going to be Tequila Sunrise. Tequila Sunrise is a black and purple power bait. I haven't seen it at local stores, but you can get it at the marina at Lake of the Woods. Use that, and use the smallest jig you could possibly use. Put that little white plastic on it, if indeed you got it. If not, just put Tequila Sunrise on it. I used a red head jig. So use a red head jig, very, very small. Do not add more weight. I mean, go 1/64 of an ounce or lighter, Or, I think mule fishing is the only one I've ever seen that makes a 1/80th of an ounce. And do not use heavy line, please. You want to use 2 to 4 pounds of fluorocarbon line. There's a good reason for that. You don't want the fish to see it. 2, you want that reel to be able to release it. Heavier line, the reel won't, you just have a hard time free spooling it. You want to use a very, very light test in order to have that very, very light jig, okay, to naturally float its way down. It's not going to, the last thing you want is to have that thing be a bullet on the way down. So don't use 1/8 or a quarter ounce or something like that. Don't do that. Okay, you want to use a very small jig. Now, Lake of the Woods is the best marina. Their marina is the best ice fishing tackle store in the area. You cannot get a better selection of ice fishing tackle than at Lake of the Woods. You can't do it. You just can't. I've looked. I mean, everybody else in town does not fit us with ice fishing gear or tackle. You could go to, Sportsman's Warehouse. You could go to Bi-Mart. They don't got it, and they usually have a pretty good selection. Walmart don't got it. It's just Coastal doesn't have it. I mean, nobody's got ice fishing gear in town, and it drives me nuts. We have great ice fishing in multiple lakes. We got Lake of the Woods, we got Fish Lakes, we got Gerber, we got Diamond, we got all these lakes with great ice fishing, and yet all these companies in town are not fitting us with it. So go to Lake of the Woods Marina, and they have a great selection of tackle, and they know what to sell you, all right, because I tell them what's working. And they ask people what they have worms, although they're pretty much out of worms on Tuesday. I'm sure Mark will bring them some more worms. I don't use worms because, it's just a bother to pinch off a little itty bitty piece of it. So I use power bait, Tequila Sunrise. I tried red, white, and blue. I tried rainbow. I'm telling you, Tequila Sunrise is the power bait to use. It really is. Dark power, but that purple and black just seems to work really, really well. And I tried the others, and I got no bites on them. And the Tequila Sunrise, I did. So there, I proved it. Also, if you want, you can rent augers, you can rent tents, you can rent sleds. I think the whole setup is like $40 for the whole day, something like that. And don't hold me to it, but I think it's $40 for the whole day. You can get the sled, the tent, the auger, and you could just set yourself up, go ice fishing out there. It's just a great day. Grab some Tequila Sunrise and little jigs, and you're in like Flynn. Okay, I mean, it's just, I use my favorite fishing rod that I use is called a tickle stick. I know it sounds weird. It's called a tickle stick because it has it's made by 13 Fishing, I think, and the tickle stick has a proper reel seat, and I like that. A lot of fly fishing rods don't have a proper reel seat. It's a foam handle on it, and then you use rubber bands, to hold your reel onto it. That's very common, and I don't like that per se. I like a proper reel seat, and you can use use a spinning reel. A 1,000 or a 500, something really light. You don't need a lot of line because you're not casting, all right? So a 500, it works really, really well. I use an inline reel. It's an ice fishing reel. It has about a 3-to-1 gear ratio. And it's got a little trigger on it that allows you to release it. Now, I have a spin caster up on my wall. I'm just thinking about it. I'm going to put that on my other rod, and I'm going to give that a shot this next week, because that spin caster has a release trigger to it. And so we're going to take that out there and we're going to give that a shot. But you want something that can release that line. And again, you want 2 to 4 pound test. I'm going to probably check that test. That came with it, and it's probably got 10 pound on it. Lousy line. We'll have to respool it. But that's what you want to do. And then just do not add any more weight to it. Let that jig just float its way down and make its way down there. You're going to fish a foot off bottom. That's what you're fishing. 1 foot off bottom. So I'm going to tell you how I caught those trout in the next segment. So stay tuned, and we'll continue our discussion about fishing Klamath Falls.
Out in the backwoods under the stars, I tune in the radio from my old car. Gold Country Radio on Friday night. Terrible at fishing, but it feels just right.
Want to get your business noticed? Sponsor a show on KKFO Gold Country Radio on 103.3 FM and create awareness through on-air announcements, our online stream at goldcountryradio.org, and our podcasts that live on forever. Your message reaches a broad local audience while also targeting listeners who choose to tune in to the shows they love. Plus, we promote your sponsorship across our website and social media. For more information, email goldcountryradio@gmail.com. Call 541-238-6989 or visit goldcountryradio.org. Gold Country Radio, your message heard locally and beyond.
The Terrible at Fishing Radio Show. Michael's got the secrets and now you know. Can't lie, you cast just fine. Gold Country Radio.
Welcome back, everybody. So, you're curious about how I caught those trout. Well, I'll tell you how I caught those trout. First, let me pose a question to all of you. Would you rather catch, 30 small fish in a day, or 3 nice fish that you can eat, fry, you can do what you want with it, and they fight better? Which one would you rather have? Would you rather have regular activity on your fishing rod, or suspense and then a fight? It's always been a thing with me. So, I told you where I was fishing, which is the far right buoy at the marina, 16 feet deep. And it's not a good perch spot. In fact, I didn't catch any perch at all. And you're thinking, Mike, you went to Lake of the Woods. You always catch perch. Well, not in certain areas. Certain areas are good for other things, other fish. They have 9 species at Lake of the Woods. 9. That's a lot of species, and you don't know. Sometimes you just don't know what you're going to be pulling up. But has about 18 inches of vegetation at the bottom of that spot. And I use a Markham M1 flasher fish finder, so I can see my bait go down, and it's sort of floating down. And then I stop it right at the top of the weed line. And then you've got to regularly jig it, and a little faster than normal. Usually you jig really slow in cold water. Well, the trout were hitting a faster jig. And I've told you this over and over again. Presentation, presentation, presentation. So now that we figured out the recipe of what they like, which is a red-headed jig with tequila sunrise power bait, and I was using a white plastic on it, I was jigging. And sure enough, first hit comes. Now, the beautiful thing about the ice, it's clear. You can see the fish underneath you. You can see the fight underneath you. And so you're looking between your legs. And then there's that fish. He's on hook. And you got to set the hook with the trout a little bit harder than you would a panfish. So instead of pulling it up, 6 inches or 7 or whatever, you pull up a little faster on the tip and you start reeling a little quicker. And that sets the hook very, very good. You don't have to yank on it. You don't have to do anything. But remember, too, that you're fishing through a piece of ice that you've drilled a hole in. And there's a sharp lip, at the bottom of that. And so you've got to sort of you have to think, ice will create abrasions on your lines. And you've got to bring that fish up on target. And so what I did is when I hooked the fish, I had to get up because I know I'm going to get my hand wet. And so I put the tip down into the hole. So I'm fighting the fish without creating abrasions on my line. Okay? The tip now is in the hole and it is, below the lip line. And I'm fighting this fish. The neat thing is you can see it. And you're just wearing it out. You're just going to wear it out. And let it fight, but keep that line tight. And until finally he starts to tire, he starts to slow down. And then you're going to sort of meander him over to the hole, put your hand in the water, and gill catch him and pull him up. And that's how you catch a fighter when you go ice fishing. So then I use that really cool AI measurement tool. Fish sticky. So, the cool thing too is that the trout are a schooling fish. So once you get that fish off and you do your thing, get that jig rebaited and back down as fast as you can. Although it's going to just take forever because I know you got to fish and then you got to measure it and stuff, and then you're going to drop that line and it goes down really, 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 really slow. But then you catch another one. Now, those were just off bottom. Now, twice, I also got them suspended. So, they were about 5 feet off bottom. And what was interesting about going 5 feet off bottom is that I dead sticked it. It stayed still. I didn't have to jig it. So, if you're going to use, pop-ups, and you're not going to run that line all the way down to the bottom. You're going to run that line 5 feet off bottom. And dead sticking it at that level is actually going to catch you more fish than dead sticking it off bottom. Unless you want perch, depending on where you're at. But dead sticking worked suspended and jigging worked just off the top of the weed bed. Got it? So, we've talked about what I used, how I used it. I've harped on you about safety. And so now we're going to talk about what I've been doing besides fishing. Which, fishing is fine with me. That's all I need to do. But, no, I need to do more. I got to keep busy. And fishing takes a lot out of me. So, I can't fish 2 days in a row, unfortunately. It's just not in me anymore. Not ice fishing, anyway. You guys watch me set up my tent. I'm just out of breath all the time. And then when I set it up, I'm in my living room, kicking back in my easy chair, fishing. Excuse me. And so now I am making my spring collection for Lake of the Woods. And my spring collection is a series of baits. And I hand paint baits for you to purchase. These are hard baits and soft baits. I do both. And I paint both, believe it or not. I use different paint. And I mold my soft baits, and then I put really good hooks on them, and you can catch a lot of fish with my baits. A lot of fish. But again, presentation. You can throw anything out there. Same thing I'm doing. If you're not presenting it the same way, you're not going to catch as many fish as me. But this year, I love big baits. I really do. But small baits catch more fish. We all just know that. So this year, I'm painting about 200 or 300 small baits, and then a select few large baits. And I'm going to put them in a variety of collections, and the collections will give you multiple methods and casts for you to work different levels of water column. And this was so neat. Hard baits and soft baits and spoons. I've made a nice spoon to you can work any water column you want. Now, the neat thing about hard baits is that they've got lips on them, and the lips are designed to dive at certain depths. So some of them dive some are top water, some dive 1 to 3 feet, some dive 2 to 4 feet, some go down to 9 feet, some go down to 30 feet, believe it or not. I got some big old giant lips on my baits. And it allows you to present the bait at different levels of a water column. The cool thing, too, about it is that you can actually, when you start getting hits, you know where the fish are in the water column. And that's the fun part. Also, hard baits are lures, and you can work them lots of different ways. And so it's a matter of presentation to them. Do they want fast? Do they want jerk? Do they want slow? Do they want all the above? Stop, start, slow, fast. And depending on the way you fish that bait, depends on how successful you're going to be with that bait. That's what makes lure fishing so much fun. Spoons are the same way. Spoons, you can let them meander down. You can cause them to move erratically, and they look like an injured fish in the water. And you can work them at any part of the water column. Thing is, with spoons, like many things like jigs and stuff like that, unless you're really perceptive of where that bait, that lure is, you really don't know where in the water column it was. And so you got to be very cognizant over its drop speed. So I always tell people, throw whatever you're throwing in front of you, and then learn it. See its characteristics, and see its, how fast it drops or it doesn't drop or whatever. I mean, most hard baits float, but they will move and have a rhythm to them. And if you pull them too fast, they won't work. If you pull them too slow, they won't work. So you got to learn the bait. If you don't learn the bait before throwing it, you have no idea what it's doing out there. So tossing your bait in front of you, and just play with it a little bit. Jerk it a few times, see what it does, and see how it responds to the motion of your rod and your hand. And after you learn the bait, this only takes a minute, so you don't have to, toss it far. You just toss it about 10, 15 feet in front of you and pull it through the water a little bit, toss it again, and just get the feel for the bait. If you do this, when you toss it, 50, 70 feet, 100 feet in front of you, you know what it's doing. And this is really, really important to how to catch a fish. If you don't know what's going on at the end of your line, you don't know what's going to be hitting it if you get anything on it or why it hit it. So then you got to repeat, okay? And so try different methods after you learn the bait's characteristics. Little baits, they're very sensitive. We call them finesse baits. So you can't reel them too fast at all. But they have a very specific requirement on reel speed and how to tie them up. So we're going to take a break now and listen to our sponsor. Please support community radio. Tell your friends about the radio station and this wonderful, if I do say so myself, fishing show. We'll be right back about how to use small finesse baits.
Out in the backwoods under the stars, I tune in the radio from my old car. Gold Country Radio on Friday night. Terrible at fishing, but it feels just right.
Want to get your business noticed? Sponsor a show on KKFO Gold Country Radio on 103.3 FM and create awareness through on-air announcements, our online stream at goldcountryradio.org, and our podcasts that live on forever. Your message reaches a broad local audience while also targeting listeners who choose to tune in to the shows they love. Plus, we promote your sponsorship across our website and social media. For more information, email goldcountryradio@gmail.com. Call 541-238-6989 or visit goldcountryradio.org. Gold Country Radio, your message heard locally and beyond.
The Terrible at Fishing Radio Show. Michael's got the secrets and now you know. Can't lie, you catch just fine. Gold Country Radio.
Welcome back again for our last segment. And I want to thank you guys for sticking with me for the first 45 minutes. Listening to me for 45 minutes would, by my children's estimation, you are awesome. They would have tuned out 43 minutes ago. Okay, so finesse baits. I love finesse fishing. And finesse fishing is just lightweight, small fishing. You catch a lot more. You can catch really big stuff. Not as often as if you threw a big bait. But you catch a lot more stuff. So, I asked you this, what would you rather do? You catch 30 small fish or 3 big fish? Well, most of the time I go with the 30 small fish because it's just active. It's just active. And you don't know what you're going to pull up during those 30 or 50 smaller fish. I mean, you'll get some big ones. So you're just more active. And I like that. Maybe it's because my attention span's, short. I don't know. So, a small finesse bait. Never add weight to your line, too. Never. Don't do that. Not when you're using lures. Lures are designed to work. There are maybe some exceptions, but for the most part, don't do it. And they're designed to work the way they're made. With lures, hard baits, they have rattles in them and stuff like that. They're designed to go to a certain depth. Now, you could pull it down a little deeper by adding on an inline slide weight, and that will cause it to dive deeper. But there are right ways and wrong ways of adding weight, but never add what do you call those pinch weights in between you and the bait. That is a no-no by any fisherman's standards. So you can add if you do a pinch weight, those clamp weights, you always do it after the bait, and you do that when you're running, for worms or power bait on a hook or something like that, but never between you and the bait, ever, 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 ever. Now, I like using snap swivels. Some people think snap swivels are just terrible. But the nice thing about a swivel, whether it be a snap swivel or a regular swivel, is that it allows the bait to twist and creates more action on the bait than if you tied directly to the bait. Now, there are some baits you have to tie directly to the bait. There are a lot, my topwater baits are tied directly to the bait. Very small finesse baits are tied directly because the snap swivel weighs too much. Believe it or not. It may only weigh 5 grams, or 2 grams, 1 gram, but it just weighs too much. It disrupts the action of a very small finesse bait. So you're going to tie directly to the smaller the bait, the less you use any kind of swivel. Black Rifle. Love my coffee. So with very small baits, you're going to tie directly to the bait. Now, I always put a split ring on all my baits. So when you buy my baits, you'll have a split ring on the front eye on the bait. And that just allows you to tie, easier. So, but you can remove the split ring if you need. You want a different play action on it. And I try to use hooks that do not disrupt the small bait's action. So sometimes I'll put a 14 on a small bait. The higher the number, without a 0 in front of it, is a smaller hook. I know it's weird, but if you put a 0 in front of it, or behind it, like 1/0, 2/0, 3/0, those are then the bigger the number, the bigger the hook. Don't ask me how they figured these things out, but somebody was either dyslexic or confused, and it stuck. So we're all dyslexic and confused when it comes to hook numbers and sizes. So I will use, as small as a 14 on my my hard bait finesse. So, and usually a 12 or a 10, depending on the size of the bait. But I choose my hooks size by allowing the bait to move. If I put too much weight on the bait, it changes its motion and its movement. And a good hook is important, and I've told you this. A good hook is very, very, very important. So when I put hooks on my baits, I make sure that they're sharp. And so when you do get a fish, it will penetrate the fish and allow you to land it easier. When you pull a small bait through the water, you're going to pull it through slowly, typically, unless it's a spinner or something like that. Spinners, sometimes burning it, which means pulling it fast, works very, very well. And I do make spinners. Spoons, very slow, typically, and hard baits, really slow. But the cool thing about hard baits, as you pull them, I usually twitch the end of my rod. By twitching it, it allows the bait to change directions. And by changing directions, it looks more alive to what's in the water, and it attracts them. They usually will hit it on a twitch, on a change of directions, or a pause. They'll hit it. My baits, when I paint them, I keep in mind color. Now, I've told you this. Trout's dominant color that they see best is blue. And the color that bass can't see is blue. So I actually have this filter that allows me to look at a bait color and through the fish's eyes. I know that's weird, but that's what I do. And if I do put blue, I want to see what shade of blue looks like to the bass. And so I could put that color in front of my filter, and it will actually see what the bass sees. So it's interesting. When you look at my baits, you'll see magenta, lavender, purples. You'll see some strange colors. But I will tell you that my baits catch fish. And you'll see different patterns on them. Now, that's something else too. Sometimes stripes add for a better hookup. Now, why do stripes work good on a fish or on a bait? Is because it creates a flash motion as it moves. And that flashing causes attention. So sometimes a striped bait is exactly what you need. Sometimes a spotted bait. Sometimes a solid bait. Sometimes a dark bait. You know, it's interesting, and I've told you this in previous episodes, picking colors of what to throw out onto the water is, well, it's pretty easy. Bright colors in clear water, dark colors in dark water. Kind of makes sense. Bright and clear, dark and dark. That's all. That's really kind of the formula. But dark can work in bright color or in clear water too. Dark is really a pretty good bait. And sometimes a black bait is very good. I make black baits. I mean, and then really dark baits, dark blue, purple, black, really deep, rich colors on them, because the fish will start to see profiles with a small signature on it, and they'll hit it. That's the fun about painting baits. Besides, I get to catch something on what I created. And you guys get to catch something on what I created. And that's the fun part of it, because I get to hear the stories. And it just tickles me that you guys are catching fish on something that I designed. And that just makes me happy. That gives me the profit I need to continue making baits. Because I don't make that much, if anything. So I do it for the love of the game, is what I do. And each one of my baits are hand painted, and they're just, they're part of me. And if you ever watch me paint them on my YouTube channel, you will see me at the end of the baits. I go, oh, that's going to catch fish. I'm proud of each and every one of them. And it's a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun. So this time of year, though, you're not going to throw these baits. But that's for the next 2 months. That's what I'm doing. I'm making baits. I'm trying to get, my, about 500 made before the season starts. And you can get these at Lake of the Woods or from me. And it's just a really something I do because I enjoy watching people catch fish. So it's ice fishing season. The best place to get ice fishing supplies is going to be Lake of the Woods Marina. And while you're there, grab a slice of pizza, because it really is some of the best pizza you'll ever eat. Inside, I saw Sidelines was making a take and bake now, and that's the place that I went and did the hot wings challenge, eating 10 of their super hot wings in 7 minutes. Give that a shot. See if you can beat me. I think I did it with a minute and a half to spare, and so see what you can do. Step up to the challenge, the hot wings challenge. And then as for the safety, eye safety, please grab a piece of rebar or some kind of rod and use that to punch the hot ice in front of you. I didn't see anybody besides me out there doing it. Do not take on faith what's in front of you before you put your foot on it. Be safe. Once you're out there, it is so much fun, and it's magical. It really is. It's beautiful. So this is Michael Ruffino, terrible at fishing, and reminding you to leave the area that you fish better, cleaner than when you found it. Thank you, everybody. Tight lines to you. Check out my YouTube channel and subscribe to it, and you will get regular updates on what's happening locally. I usually post 3 to 5 videos a week. So you guys take care, tight lines, and we'll see you out on the ice.
That was Terrible at Fishing, the radio show, with fishing expert Michael Ruffino. Check out Terrible at Fishing on YouTube, and tune in next week for the next episode and more great fishing tips. Terrible at Fishing, Fridays at 7 p.m. on Gold Country Radio.